Alright, so I've been on the hunt for a quality and well-built pro-level controller for years now. Basically what a pro-level controller means is that there are back buttons on the controller which you can usually remap to any of the face buttons on the front of the controller. I have tried literally every single one on the market. On the channel I've reviewed the Razer Raiju, I have played around with Astro's TRX Pro level controller, I have wasted my money on a Scuff. For a while I was actually leaning on a company called Battle Beaver. This was my go-to for years up until the release of the attachment. They basically mod the controllers using the default controllers, and they add 2 back buttons on the back controller, as you can see right here. I love this controller. It was working well for me. I didn't have any issues with it, but I am a person who is very heavy on all the video game stuff that I use, keyboards, mouse, gamepads. I burn through about 2 controllers, PlayStation controllers, a year, just because I'm so heavy on it and I just do so much gaming. So even though these were built reliable, they just don't withstand my use. And with all the other ones, this one worked great. It did everything that it was supposed to do, but the only issue is something that it can never fix, and it doesn't feel like a PlayStation 4 controller. And in my opinion, the PlayStation 4 controller ergonomically is the best all-around controller ever built of all time. So it just feels comfortable to use, it feels great in the hand, and I wanted something basically to replicate it. So long and behold, a couple months ago, Sony released this back button attachment. It is $30, which is a steal for exactly what it does. You can put it on any OEM PlayStation 4 controller and it will work. How it works is that you plug it into the back or the bottom of the controller through the audio jack, and you basically can remap any of the buttons that are on the controller to the 2 back buttons on the rear. The only ones that you cannot remap is the touch button, for obvious, the touchpad button. All the other buttons, including the joysticks L3, R3, the D-pads, the face buttons, the triggers, can all be mapped to the 2 buttons on the back. And what's nice about it is that you can actually set 3 different profiles. So if you're a person like me who's kind of bouncing back and forth between different types of games, you can set 3 different profiles so you can have them ready to go and basically a quick swap to that profile when you change games. And as well, it allows you for on-the-fly remapping as well. It's amazing. I actually ended up buying 2 of them. They were a little bit difficult to find when they first released because they were such a hot commodity, but supply has finally caught up to demand. Kind of rumored that the PlayStation 5 controller will have this built in, and I know it did take a while we're near the end of the PlayStation 4 life cycle. PlayStation 5 is coming out in November. I would have liked this to come out a lot sooner, just because I've wasted so much money on different pro level controllers that have been terrible to okay to great. And I just would have saved a ton of money if this would have came out months ago or years ago even. Pretty much all positives. The only thing negative that I would say is that once in a while, somehow, even though it feels like it's snug in there, you sometimes have to re-push it up to engage the buttons again. For some reason, it gets loose and you have to just give it a quick push back up to allow the back buttons to work. And also because of the fact that it bottom loads into the rear or the bottom of the controller, if you have a charging cradle that you charge by plugging your controller upright like this, you obviously will have to get a different charging cradle because it won't, unless you want to constantly be attaching and reattaching this. Personally, that's not something that I would like to do. So what I ended up buying was a top loading cradle that you can just place the controller downwards like this, and then it charges. We all know the battery life on the PlayStation 4 controller isn't the greatest out there, so you constantly have to recharge. So I always recommend that you invest into our charging cradle. But yeah, in terms of a review, if I were to give this a score, it'd definitely be a 5 out of 5 for exactly what you get, how much you pay for, all the options that you have for it as well. Also, I forgot to mention that if you still need to use the headphone jack, there is a button at the bottom of the device, so you can still utilize the headphone jack for all your needs. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and the quick review. Sorry it took so long. Honestly, I just forgot to do it. So yeah, if you enjoyed, thumbs up would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time, right? As always, have a fantastic day.